All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the routine weekly briefing for Central North Carolina, covering the period from today, December 30th, until Sunday, January 5th. I'm meteorologist Jimmy Danko, and I'm going to take you through the next week here. So first, just looking at the overall surface pattern for the next week across the U.S. So we have today, an area of low pressure moving up into the Great Lakes. And we already had some rain yesterday. Then the cold front has swept through the area this morning, bringing in much drier air. And we're just expecting mostly sunny skies today. Little drop in temperatures, though, really very similar temperatures to yesterday, with highs still in the low to mid 60s and lows tonight in the lower to mid 40s. So still well above normal temperatures for this time of year. You can see this warm front to our south that's going to be moving through our area tonight. So really no cold air to be found quite yet. Then a low pressure system passing to our north and west that you can see here on Wednesday across upstate New York and New England. That will bring a chance of isolated to scattered showers on Tuesday, tomorrow, mainly across the north, and it looks like very light, if anything. And then that brings another cold front through our area late Tuesday night, early Wednesday, and behind that, it will turn dry and cooler with slightly below normal temperatures by Thursday and Friday. We're looking at by Thursday and Friday highs more like in the upper 40s to lower 50s, and lows in the upper 20s to lower 30s. And looking very dry from Wednesday through Friday and even Saturday. And a round of even colder air is expected this weekend behind yet another cold frontal passage on Friday night. So by Saturday and Sunday, we're only expecting highs in the lower to mid 40s and lows dipping into the 20s. As we get into later in the day on Sunday, models are showing potential for another low pressure system that may bring some precipitation to our area sometime from late Sunday into early next week. There's still a lot of uncertainty right now on the timing of the system, as well as maybe what the precipitation type will be with it. You've probably heard some talk already about possible wintry precipitation during that period. And the cold air certainly does look like it's going to be there, at least around the area. There's still just too much uncertainty with it being that far out, and that's really going more into past the timing of this briefing anyway, which ends on Sunday. But the potential is there for some wintry precipitation, and all I can really say right now is just to stay tuned to weather.gov. And message us certainly if you have any concerns and questions about this potential wintry system, and beyond that as well. It looks pretty cold, so we may be going into a more favorable time for some wintry weather, but we're going to have to see if we can just get a system that links up with the cold air. Because as we know around here, it takes just the perfect ingredients to get snow or any kind of frozen precipitation around here. So stay tuned. We are looking tomorrow morning at the potential for some fog, backing up now again to the near-term part of the forecast. So this is actually the one of the products that we look at, and this is from the 12Z HREF model, looking at basically the probability of visibilities below a half mile from 3 a.m. to 9 a.m. tomorrow. across the area. And so you can see that there's quite a bit of pretty high probabilities of some dense fog out there tomorrow morning, particularly west of the triangle, it looks like. Across like the western Piedmont, there's probabilities over 50%. But the potential exists everywhere across our across central North Carolina. So that could make for maybe a difficult morning commute. But there's still some uncertainty on how much fog is going to develop and how much low-level moisture we can get across our area. So stay tuned for that. Fog is a notoriously difficult thing to forecast ahead of time. Looking at the rainfall amounts that we're expecting for the next 5 days, you can see that we're pretty dry for the most part for the next 5 days. Tuesday, tomorrow is really the only chance of any rain at all, and it's really just across, you can see there's some forecast amounts, or maybe around a few hundredths of an inch across our far north, like around Greensboro, but that's really it. The 7-day total is higher though, because that includes the system that we're looking at for Sunday night, maybe Monday. It includes those amounts. So with this, we're looking at maybe a tenth to a quarter, maybe a little more, is what the forecast shows right now, but that's still quite far out, and these amounts can certainly change. There's no risk for any excessive rainfall over the next few days, nor is there any risk for severe weather for the next week. So that's some good news. Looking at the experimental graphical hazardous weather outlook that you can look at anytime using this link here. Really, for the next week, the only hazards that we have highlighted are this fog potential that's really tonight into early tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, there could be some dense fog. And then there is a limited threat of fire weather on Saturday. That's still pretty far out, but the forecast does have some dry conditions and maybe some gusty winds. So stay tuned for that. But it does look like it's going to be pretty cold then. So that could mitigate the threat somewhat. And then looking at the 8 to 14 day temperature and precipitation outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, you can see that there's an 80 to 90% chance of below normal temperatures across really not just our area, but the entire Mid-Atlantic, Ohio Valley, much of the Southeast and Midwest. These are very high probabilities. You don't normally see this. So there's a high confidence that we're going into some colder weather. This is from January 6th to the 12th. And there is also slightly increased chances of above normal precipitation, 33 to 40% chance across our area. So that is definitely a little, something to watch out for during this period, with expecting cold temperatures and maybe a wetter than normal pattern. Could mean some snow, but again, that's too far out for any details at this time. So to summarize, today will be mostly sunny and dry, with temperatures still above average, highs in the low to mid 60s, lows tonight in the low to mid 40s. And then tomorrow, a fairly weak low pressure system that looks to pass pretty far to our north and west may bring some isolated scattered showers. Best chance will be across the north, but amounts look to be very light, if any. And then it will turn dry and cooler behind another cold front Tuesday night with slightly below normal temperatures by late week. And then a shot of even colder air is expected this weekend with highs in the low to mid 40s and lows getting down into the 20s. And then the next chance of precipitation comes from late Sunday into early next week. Still have to, again, work out the details on the timing and any amounts and precipitation type are all still very uncertain right now. And that gets into the hazards and impacts section. So the dense fog potential, as I discussed, there for Tuesday morning, especially across the west, and then maybe some non-liquid precipitation with this system Sunday night into early next week. There is a minority of ensembles that show some frozen precip, but still too early for any specifics at this time. So all I can say is stay tuned for future updates. And that concludes our weekly briefing. Thanks for listening.